The IPF has changed the rules for 2026. For the past few days, we have been seeing a lot of pushback from athletes and from coaches all over the world. There have been some changes, some big ones and some smaller ones. And in this video, we are going to go over everything that has changed in the IPF for 2026. And I will give you my opinion if the changes have been good or bad. I'm going to put the link to the PDF with all the changes in the description below. So if you want to check it out yourself, just click on the link in the bio. We will go over the whole rulebook and just check out the red stuff, the changes, and I will give you my opinion on each and every one of those. There's been a lot of pushback the past few days from IPF lifters and lifters from other federations, and it hasn't been well accepted, mostly because of the unclarity, if that's a word. We'll just take it with the order of the pages of the PDF. The first change that I see here is that each lifter must receive a participation medal memento from the meet organizer at international meets. That's pretty good, and I found it really nice. I'm not a big fan of participation medals, but if you're going to pay all that money, fly to a country, compete, most powerlifters have to pay everything themselves. It's good to have something to remember the competition, not just a certificate. Let me show you. I have one right here. Receiving a medal like this one. This is from the IPF World Championships 2025. You can receive a medal, you can put it on your desk. Nice memory. It looks nice. Just so you know, there have been some things in this book that they have been deleted or lined through because they have been moved at the beginning of the PDF. So don't get confused by it. It's just some things about collars, squat racks, all that stuff. They have just been moved to the beginning of the PDF. That's why they are deleted from the end of the ebook. The first rule that I'm seeing right here is for the bench press, and it says you get a blue light for failure to lock the arms before the start command. That has been in the rules since forever, but what I'm wondering about is that why is it now in the blue light section? And if it's going to mean that the athlete might get red lighted even before the lift starts, so meaning you won't get a re-rack and you will just get red lighted. I'm not really sure about that, but failure to lock the arms before the start command, it's a reason for a blue light, and that probably means that you'll get a blue red, basically a blue no lift before you even start the lift. I'm not sure about that. We'll see about it. But I think it's going to be more like you get a few re-racks, you cannot start the lift because your elbows are not in the correct position, so you're getting blue lighted. That's how I'm understanding this one. I don't think you're going to get directly blue lighted, but... So I'm doing this video right now because the EPF has already given us some clarification on the rules that they put out. But for some things, it's still not enough. So let's go over these changes, see what the reasoning is, what the clarification is. We'll see how it has been taken from the whole community. The next one is probably the most controversial rule of these new changes. And it says for the bench press, you will get a yellow card for utilizing upper body thrust to initiate upward movement of the bar from the chest. Probably means using dynamic leg drive. The EPF and the IPF has put an example for this. It looks like it's going to affect mostly female lifters and lighter lifters. And they say the reasoning behind this is that the upper body thrust should not be used to initiate the upward movement of the bar from the chest, meaning the first portion. And the reason behind it says lowering the chest during the downward phase of the bar movement to achieve elbow depth and moving it up after the press signal to lift the bar with the help of the upper body. I mean, it's a bench press, you use your upper body to press. I'm not really sure. So what they are doing with this rule, they are trying to fix the elbow depth rule, which has been not very effective. In this case, I'd say it's a rule for the rule. And it would have been better if they just written a better rule about the elbow depth, maybe limiting the grip width for each weight class. That would have probably been, in my opinion, a better solution, because weight class is usually dependent on height, and height is usually dependent on limb length, and so If they have just put a grip limit on each weight class, it might have been a better solution. They are now trying to patch up a bad rule from last year. So I think they are targeting mostly women who are trying to cheat the elbow depth and lighter lifters, but mostly women. And the whole issue with this rule is, where do you draw the line on this? Does dynamic leg drive count as upper body thrust? What will the heavyweight lifters do who are pressing insane amounts of weights? Let's say, for example, Jesus Olivares. I think there's a lot of gray area and a lot of not clarity for this rule, and I think a lot of lifters will be robbed from this rule, and a lot of lifters will be upset about this. I think the first few months is gonna be all over the place, and in my opinion, I think they have to rewrite this one. Just if they want to eliminate only the female lifters that are using a type of belly press, I'm not sure how to describe this one. You're using your belly or you are expanding your upper body to push the first portion. But I think if you're a lifter that is initiating the lift with their hands, and it looks like you are pushing with your hands at the beginning of the press, you should be fine, I hope, because a lot of lifters are affected by this. Female lifters, light lifters, heavyweight lifters that sink the bar. So they're probably gonna have to fix this rule. And I don't think it's a good rule the way it has been written. So let's hope for the best. The IPF had already tried to give us a clarification on what they mean, but who's to decide what upper body thrust means? And I don't like it in general. I hope they fix it. I hope they listen to the lifters and the coaches and affiliate nations, and let's hope for the best. The next rule I see here is that it's permitted to wear knee sleeves over a long leg singlet. The long legged singlets came into the IPF lately, mostly for religious reasons for other nations, which I find very fair. And in the beginning, you were not able to put on lifting equipment above the singlet, above the long leg singlet. And right now, they have allowed to use knee sleeves above the singlet. We have seen it last year unofficially. And it's also allowed but not mandatory to wear deadlift socks, which is nice. It's fair. Since you are wearing a long leg, you might not need to socks, so that's pretty fair. That's good for lifters who are Muslims or lifters who feel more comfortable with wearing long-legged singlets. This one is pretty good. The next rule I see, and I thought it has always been there, is that shoes must be properly fastened. This is the job of the technical controller. The technical controller is at the beginning of the platform and it checks that the lifter is properly equipped, properly dressed, or looks okay. This one is a no-brainer. I don't know why they had to write it extra for the book. There must have been an incident or something with the lifters that didn't want to tie their shoes. The next one, which is pretty surprising to me, and I think I know why they did it. I have watched Pascal Su's video or Yuri Boyga, and he made a lot of sense. Lifters are permitted to receive personal assistance in the application of their knee sleeves, which is pretty surprising because last year they have banned stiff sleeves and then they have unbanned them, and right now they are allowing lifters to get assistance on putting on their knee sleeves, which is a first for raw powerlifting. And I think with this move, what they are trying to achieve is, and that Pascal Su said, they're trying to allow you to get help so you can get a smaller size, and at the end of the year where the stiff sleeves will expire, they won't renew them, so then they won't get a lot of pushback because the lifters will be allowed to put on smaller size sleeves. I think we're gonna see some crazy numbers on this one. We're gonna see lifters trying to put on super extra mini small. I think that's the reason behind this. I'm not sure if it's a good bad thing or a bad thing, but I think we're gonna go crazy with the sleeve sizes, and I'm not sure how good that will do to the lifters. This one is for Russell Orhi for sure, and it says necklaces and similar accessories must be properly secured underneath a t-shirt and should not be placed in the mouth at any time when the lifter is approaching or on the platform. meaning you cannot bite on your necklace, you have to put away your chains, you're not allowed to have some swag on the platform. They say it's for safety reasons. Let me check the reasoning real quick. It says here, enhancing lifter safety and positively shaping the public perception of powerlifting. They want to do have some control on what the lifters wear, in case probably someone wears something that they don't like, and they are banning this for everyone. But they are saying for safety reasons, and Russell is definitely the target for this rule because he started the trend with biting your necklace. So, I mean, it doesn't really affect me that much, but it's nice to see a chain here and there and something cool. Doesn't really matter, to be honest. They just want to have some control on what appears on the platform. I don't know how I feel about this one. Maybe just let lifters express themselves. Let lifters wear something that represents their country. I mean, they don't have to be so strict about that one. Now let's move on to the squat, which is the second biggest thing in these changes. With this one, they're trying to kill the French low bar, basically. The low bar squat that the French invented, where the bar sits so low on your back it looks like you are holding it on your ass. And to be fair, the French low bar has never been a good lift for competitions. They just turn a blind eye to it. I mean, if you cannot get an upright position for the squat, it's anyway not a good lift, and I'm not sure why they had to get an extra rule for this, but let me read you this rule that has probably been written with a drunk ChatGPT. The lifter shall face the front of the platform with the barbell placed horizontally across the shoulders at a height no lower than the posterior deltoid level, meaning that you can put the bar lower than your rear delts. Hands, thumbs, and fingers must completely grip the bar, positioned in the rack stance and starting position. At first, people thought that the thumbless grip might have been gone for the squat, but after the IPF has clarified that the thumbless grip is staying, and what they are trying to eliminate is basically the very low bar position that the bar is resting on the triceps, and the grip and the false grip, which looks like the lifter is holding the bar with their fingertips and the thumb is in the air. So if all of your fingers are touching the bar, you are safe. You are probably safe. You can never be sure with the IPF, but it looks like the thumbless grip for the squats is staying, and it's mostly targeting the French low bar squats. They are trying to cheat their way out of the squat, and they also look very dangerous and unstable. And it has been a really good move because nobody likes a French low bar, bro. To be fair. For the next one, I'm really 50-50. Let me read it to you. The lifter is not allowed to walk out through the front of the rack after the completion of the lift for the squat. I'm not really sure about this one. We have seen lifters at Sheffield and competitions hype the crowd, finish the squat, go under the bar, hype the crowd up, let the scream out, celebrate. And this one is cutting the lifters from going under the bar and in front of the crowd to do some crowd work, which is cutting out a little bit of the entertainment aspect of powerlifting. But from an organizer standpoint, I find it very fair because the lifter might get in front of the spotters and the loaders, which might make things more complicated. I'm not really sure how strict they are going to be with this, but what I'm not sure about is if you get 3 white lights and the lift cannot be overruled and you go under the rack, will they then later give you 3 red lights? I'm not sure what this means. I'm not sure how they will enforce it. Athletes probably will get a warning, but I think it was mostly unnecessary. The next one for the bench press, the lifter is not allowed to enter the rack from the head side of the bench press rack. It's probably for safety reasons, maybe not confuse the spotters loaders, maybe not trip on the cables, I don't know. Very few lifters are entering the rack from the head side, so shouldn't affect a lot of athletes. The next one is the main difference that the squat rule has had, and it says here for the bench press, his hands, which has to be their hands because male-female lifters, IPF, His hands, thumbs, and fingers must completely grip the bar, positioned in the rack stance with the thumb around grip, meaning that thumbless is not allowed here, and that's the main difference with the squat rule. And basically what they are trying to do here is eliminate the bulldog grip, probably, which you hold the bar on your fingertips and the thumb is not completely on the bar, or the Japanese grip. That's probably the main reason for it. They didn't give out any explanation. So I think if you don't do any Japanese style grip or a bulldog grip, you should be fine. You should just grip the bar and have complete contact with the bar. And I think they're trying to eliminate very wide grip bench presses, which I think it's okay. They're trying to go more on the strength aspect and not on the mobility and finding your way out of the lift aspect. So I'm pretty fine with this one. Let's see what's the next one. And the next one for the deadlift, it says, on completion of the lift, the knees shall be locked in a straight position. Okay. The front bundle of the deltoid muscles should be placed behind an imaginary projection of the bar. And we also have an illustration here to see what they mean. They basically explain the locked out shoulders position, and I find it fine. Some lifters have been locking out straight and they have been getting white lighted for that, but that's not what the rules were about. So we now have a clarification, which I find very fair. I want to see how they will enforce it and where the limits would be on the imaginary projection of the bar and how strict they are going to be with this one. I think there's gonna be a lot of mistakes for this one too. We'll have to wait and see in competition in reality how this rule will be enforced. The next one is pretty funny, to be honest, and they have gotten a lot of pushback for it on Instagram on the past few days. I've also made a video for it. It's pretty similar to the squat rule. Once the bar has been lowered again on the platform, the lifter is not allowed to step away over the bar toward to the front of the platform, meaning you can't step over the bar or you'll get red lighted. This one is pretty unnecessary in my opinion. Same reason you cannot go over to the crowd and do some crowd work, hype up the crowds. You cannot celebrate your lift because you have to pay attention. I'm not really sure why they did this. It's pretty funny, to be honest, and I'm not sure how they're going to enforce it after you get 3 white lights and the lift cannot be contested. What they're gonna do after if you get over the bar. It doesn't say anything about crawling under the bar, so I'm pretty curious to see if someone will try that one. We have a new rule for weigh-ins, and it says that the athletes may be permitted to weigh in wearing minimal clothing beyond standard requirement, for example, lifting singlet and t-shirt. But I find it very good for maybe sub-juniors, junior lifters, or lifters for religious reasons. They cannot be within their underwear for the weigh-in. I find it very, very fair and a very good solution for that. And the next rule is a lifter may only weigh in the category in which he was nominated 30 days prior to the meet and not 21. So the deadline is a little bit further away from the meet. Okay, I find it okay. More time for organization. The next one is in competitions where designated international broadcast partners are present, the interval between disciplines, squat, bench, deadlift can be adjusted. The sport comes first and the sponsors and the media have to come second, because if you are going to adjust the plan just for the international broadcast, you are sacrificing the sport for the media, and that's not a good thing. I understand it, but the sport and the athletes have to always come first. I wouldn't just stop a meet because the live stream is not working. I think it wouldn't happen in any other sport. I'm not really a fan of this one. It can be written better, or it can be adjusted so that it doesn't sacrifice the sport for the media. Some more general rules right here. Athletes' hair should be fixed, braided or tied back in such a way as not to interfere with the referee's ability to judge the lift. I find it very fair because some lifters have very long hair and they might hide their depth, they might hide their shoulders, so this one is pretty good. Next one is, and it has been the most memed rule into oblivion I have seen the last few days. Lifters are expected to enter and exit the lifting area or platform in a respectful manner, refraining from disregarding the belt on the floor or engaging in any contact that may be harmful to the integrity of the sport. I mean, throwing your belt around, I find it disrespectful. Okay, I'm pretty fair. I find it fair, but who's to say what respectful manner is? This one is gonna make lifters, nobody will celebrate their lift anymore, and we will be looking like a lifting factory line where the lifter goes in like a robot, lifts, goes out like a robot. You cannot celebrate. What does this mean? I'm not sure. Where do you draw the line? Who's to decide what respectful means? I don't like this one, to be honest. I mean, throwing the belt, okay, but the rest, or maybe engaging in conduct that may be harmful, doing something that's not accepted by society. I don't know. Okay, I understand, but where do you draw the line and who's to decide what's respectful? That's the problem. Leave in the belt on the floor, don't throw your belt, okay? Don't engage in any conduct that may be harmful to the integrity of the sport, okay? But what's respectful? Can you not celebrate anymore? I'm not sure about this one. We'll have to wait and see. But this has been laughed at in social media for the past few days. And I hope they're not and I hope they don't get paranoid with this one and they start handing out red cards to everyone that celebrates. And I hope they are very, very careful on what they do with this rule. And the next is, I find it a very good thing. The jury may utilize instant replay technology as an official tool to review the lifts during the IPF sanctioned meets. I find it a very good rule because the jury is always sitting very far away from the platform. They only have one angle to check. I hope they use multiple angles for this one so they can see angles that they are not able to normally when they are present. And I hope this will be used correctly in a way that will benefit the lifters and not use it to abuse the jury's power to overrule lifts. But please make it so that you have multiple angles. You can see all three angles of the lift so that you can make a good decision and not drop the lifters or take lifts away from lifters that are good. The next few general ones at World Championships or any other championship where attempts may be made on world record, only IPF category 1 or category 2 referee adjudicate. Each nation may nominate a maximum of 4 referees to serve at world championships plus extra category 2 referees for jury duty, which I find pretty good. That's not a big deal. You can bring more referees. You have a bigger roster for referees. You can rotate them more. The referees will not get tired because everything is run from volunteers. The referees are volunteers. I'm not sure if the nations will be able to bring more referees to these meets. I hope they can. It's a good thing. I don't know how practical it is. Or the next one is for the referees, not for the lifters. Qualifications for Category 1 follows. Must be Category 2 referee in good standing for a period of 4 years. Officiate a maximum of 6 international instead of 4. I find it good. The barrier of entry for Category 1 is a bit higher now, but this ensures that the referee is ready to get Category 1. Category 1 referees are allowed to do jury duty, so that's pretty fair. National referees may be appointed as technical controllers, which I find okay. And the last rule I find in this book is, under no circumstances any person under the influence of alcohol may be in the warm-up room at any time, and this shall be ensured by the head coach. So that means no whiskey and deadlifts anymore. Why does this have to be here? So that's everything they changed for 2026. The biggest rules I see here are the deadlift one and the bench press one. And I think the bench press one will need to be rewritten again because it's very vague and it's very unclear, and a lot of lifters will be robbed from their lifts because of that rule. So it has to be adjusted ASAP. Germany, for example, says that they cannot translate the rule book because of the vagueness of the rules and the unclarity or not being clear. And they are going to run with the 2025 rule book until the IPF makes some specifications on the rules. So I have seen a lot of pushbacks and a lot of affiliate countries have complained. So we'll see about this. Most of these are good. Some of them are really bad and they will affect a lot of lifters, so I hope they do something about it. That was my opinion on the new rules. Let me know in the comments what you think and if you like the new rules, and I'll see you on the next one.